So, welcome to the show, everybody. We got a show for you. I'm Donald W. Moore. I started Get Off My Lawn Records with my beautiful wife. And we have a lot of stuff we're going to go over today. There's some announcements. This week we're doing last Sunday, David Komie of the Dharma Kings and all the billboards in Austin, because he's the attorney that rocks. He came by. So this episode, that's why you see the format's a little different. We're gonna talk to him a little later in the show, and just a really thoroughly interesting interview. And I don't really cut him down, right? I just put him up as is because I don't want anybody to miss anything. So.
Right.
And then next week we're gonna have Eric Seraphin, Mixer Man. If you pass me those right there. He wrote these two bad boys, the hashtag MixerMan and the Billionaire Parent. He actually, he pointed out the hashtag. And then he also wrote the Daily Adventures of MixerMan. I talked to him this morning at not an unholy hour, but it was certainly borderline.
It was up there.
And, yeah, he was really interesting. That's a little more technical, but for anybody who's a gearhead, they'll follow along just fine, and then just leave comments. So before we get really deep, leave a comment for me right now. Let me know where you're watching from, and let me know what your favorite animal without a shell is. Hi, Studio Cat. And because we don't have a bunch of guests, Studio Cat's gonna come hang out and contribute.
He will make an appearance and will be very, very loud. So
Regal Cat may or may not, depends on how long this goes.
Yes.
So who the bleep are you?
I am your wife.
Yep.
I would be Carissa.
Yep. Come here, Studio Cat.
Sometimes I wonder if you forget that.
Oh, come here. Come here. All right. Don't protest. There you go. There you go. Okay. Look, we'll do the whole show. We'll let Studio Cat be part of the show. That'll keep him nice and quiet, because otherwise you'd like to walk around and complain.
Yes.
So that's who the bleep we are, and this is Studio Cat. So thumbs up for Studio Cat. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, because that part matters.
Yes.
And so what's our what's next? What's section 2?
Section 2 is, do you give a bleep?
So explain to the audience what that is.
This is where Don makes me go out and find news stories from the previous week so that we can have something to discuss that is not Don and his ego.
It's pretty hard to fit the ego in this room.
It really is. You fit a lot of other stuff in here, and so the ego doesn't quite fit anymore.
I know.
It's overflowing to the other bedroom. We need to work on that.
It's overflowing into the internet is what it's doing.
It is.
So we do these 5 news stories. It's do you give a bleep? Sometimes we give a bleep. Usually we don't give a bleep.
It really depends on what happened that week.
Right. So what's the first one?
First one was Greg Lake, founding member of Emerson, Lake and Palmer and King Crimson, died at age 69 after what has been described as a long and stubborn battle with cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love ELP. I give a bleep.
You give a bleep.
Do you give a bleep?
I give a bleep for many reasons.
Yeah. I don't have a lot to say about it. Just sucks.
Yeah.
Just sucks.
It sucks. It sucks that he died. It sucks that he had cancer. There are many things that suck.
Yeah, somebody will be able to eulogize him better than me.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, what's next?
Next. John Glenn died.
Yep. Senator John Glenn.
Senator John Glenn. Astronaut John Glenn.
Yeah, but senator is actually a title you carry your whole life. I believe it'll actually say Senator John Glenn.
He was the first guy to orbit the Earth. I mean...
And he orbited the Earth 100 times.
Yeah, so...
I think he flew...
You should get to keep the title of astronaut when you do that, you know?
21 missions in Korea.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, guy was Captain America. I give a bleep.
I give a bleep. I thought it was interesting that he got to go back into space at the age of 77.
Yeah, that was interesting. They're like, if anybody's qualified to do it,
really,
it's John Glenn.
He was probably one of the few that was still in good enough shape to go back into space at age of 77.
That's right. Now, I wish we would send people into space again, but we don't seem to do that anymore. But what do I know?
Well, we send people into space, but we send them to the space station, which isn't very far away,
And
relatively speaking.
It's kind of boring.
Yeah. It's like if we'd bothered to set up the space station on the moon, then that would be a little more interesting.
Yeah, though I think they do a lot of they're studying like the effects of long-term exposure to zero gravity and stuff. It's important work.
Sure.
But we don't do it anymore. Now we piggyback. Now we hitch rides with the Russians.
Yes.
We'll see how that goes for the next 4 years. All right.
That'll be interesting.
What's next?
All right. This one got to me for a couple of reasons.
Uh-oh.
A Minnesota couple with a video company are suing the state for the right to deny services to LGBTQ customers, even though they currently have no gay clients.
What kind of company?
Video company.
They make video?
Carl and Angel Larson of St. Cloud run Telescope Media Group, a small production firm that currently advertises commercial event filming. They don't currently even do weddings, but they're looking to get into weddings. But they don't want to have to do gay weddings. So they're suing the state before they even bother doing any weddings at all so that they don't have to do gay weddings.
You know, I will just point this out because the historical context has become lost on a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
In the 60s, I believe, it was interracial marriage was made legal.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long, long time, like 10 years after, people were still trying to deny services to interracial couples on religious grounds. This whole thing has just been done. It's straight out of the playbook, right? So we know how this goes. Eventually, like, we have to respect people's feelings on things. If you're just not comfortable being around gay people, like, you shouldn't deserve to be wealthy. But, you know, we got to respect that. There is still that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of these people, you know, you take somebody who's like 50 today, they would have been born in, 66?
Yeah.
You know, the world's changed a lot in the last 50 years. So when I got ordained to perform weddings, I said I wouldn't perform straight weddings, only gay weddings, until the Catholic Church starts performing gay weddings, which, by the way, would be fabulous. Quite the costumes. And
fabulous on many levels.
And so, you know, I'm ordained to perform same-sex marriage. I'm fine with it. But other people aren't. And so we need more people who are just like, I'm cool with it, and fewer people that give a bleep, right?
Right.
And ultimately, like, if we all stop giving a bleep about these people, if we don't make a big fuss about them, if we just go, oh, you terrible homophobic jerk, and then just make sure that you never, like, just make sure that nobody in your social circle ever works with them, and just, you know.
Well, see, that's the whole point. I mean, that's why you need to bring it out to the light when people do stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because that's how people know not to work with them.
But I don't think it's the responsibility of the news media to cover this. I think it's the responsibility of social media to cover this.
Well, the lawsuit they're bringing is basically trying to overturn the state's Human Rights Act.
It'll fail.
It'll fail. Sure, it'll fail. But the fact that they're even trying anymore, that this is still a thing. Yeah. The discrimination on any level is still a thing. Yeah. In the 21st century is just...
There's discrimination of all kind in this world. I mean, if we really want to go into it, right, about discrimination, because I understand, I do a lot of soul searching on a lot of things, right, and I'm privileged in many, many ways, right, and
you're a straight cisgendered white male. Yes, you are very, very privileged.
Who's also grotesquely overweight. So screw you, hippie.
You're not grotesquely overweight.
At one point I was.
At one point, but not anymore.
I'm still pretty heavy, and guess what? The world looks at big fat dudes a lot different than they look at skinny dudes. The world looks at bald dudes different than they look at full haired.
We're in Texas. There's a lot of bald, overweight dudes. You're not in the minority, and by any means.
I understand, but with that there comes certain serious economically impacting assumptions.
Okay.
For one, I did not know that the stereotype was that overweight guys were dumb. Kat, you cannot knock into the microphone.
I don't think he cares.
You're going to get an SM-58 if he keeps doing this. So...
Cuddle. Snuggle up.
There you go. Be a good kitty.
There you go.
So what do? Do I go run around and do I scream about obesity bias? No. The only thing I can do is be the person I can be, overcome the adversities that I have to overcome. And granted, I have fewer than some, but ultimately, the whole country's getting fat.
Right.
So that stigma goes away over time when just everybody's grotesquely overweight. So attitudes change over time. It used to be if you were heavy, you were considered very wealthy. And now if you're heavy, you're certainly not considered wealthy. It's actually weight's been used as a class indicator for a long time. There's a lot of these problems that we have are class issues, and it's just it's the last dying breaths of like I just want to keep my privilege and screw everybody else's privilege, and people's feelings on matters are valid. So what do you do to this couple? Do you jail them? No, you don't jail them. Do you fine them? No, you don't fine them. You just
all you can do is like publicly shame them.
Even that's kind of bullying. The better thing to do.
Is it
the better thing to do?
Is it bullying? Is it straight up bullying to just go, hey, this is lousy? Or do you have to actually be like giving them directly grief about it?
Here's the way you do it. When you are in need of the services they provide, of some video, clearly I don't need their services.
Right.
But when you are in need of their services and they're local, you call and you say, have you changed your stance on LBGT? You know, have you decided that you're going to start doing gay weddings? And if they say no, you say thank you, you hang up the phone and you move on.
Right.
You don't call them, but that is the question you open when you're not trying to film a gay wedding. That's the way you solve this problem.
Sure.
You make sure that if there's any concern that your videographer is this way, you ask, and if they are and their politics don't agree with your politics, then don't work with them. And and be honest, say, listen, I like your work. I just refuse to work with anybody who takes that stance. Good day. And guess what? You vote with your wallet, and then eventually it will impact them economically to where they may change their mind. Or maybe they leave the business. Or maybe they go find that group of people that feels the same way as they do. And they go thrive in this tiny little group, and it becomes more and more the balkanization of America. Studio Cat, shut up. So... Cat. We shouldn't have paid attention to him. He would have gotten it out of his system.
No, I know what it is. He's in the bathroom. He wants to drink out of the toilet, but the toilet lid is closed.
Why did you close the toilet lid?
Because the cat shouldn't be drinking out of the damn toilet.
The cat can drink out of the toilet. So love each other. Love your cats. What's next?
What's next? The Nintendo Switch.
I'm so excited. It was on Jimmy Fallon.
Yes, that...
Did you watch it?
No.
We should watch it right now.
No, let's not watch it right now.
It's so cool.
No.
It's like this big. So the screen's going to be like that big, which would be a good-sized screen. And you just drop it on the thing, you pull it out, you push a button, and you're playing on the handheld.
Yes.
So I'll be able to go from the big giant projector, like they showed. I have a big old projector downstairs.
Yes.
And if you watch the Freeform Fridays videos, and I think we decided that it's my left hand is the card.
Yes.
So you can watch those. I'll put a card there for a Bull at the Gates, and you'll see the projector screen. I have a 10-foot television. It's great. I recommend a projector to everybody.
Yes.
Except you need to have blackout curtains to make it work. It is
right.
It's not as simple as painting a square on your wall. And the new Zelda, they showed it in action on live TV.
Yes.
This wasn't simulated imagery.
Nope.
And it looks great. It looks responsive. It doesn't look like it's laggy or anything. I'm really excited. I'm going to day one this thing. We'll probably unbox it on this channel.
Okay. You do know the new Zelda is not expected to be released with the console, right?
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
March 2017.
Oh.
When's the new Zelda coming?
They don't know. They just know it's 2017. But they have not confirmed March for the...
They haven't confirmed. It's coming. They're out demoing the thing with it.
They're demoing it, but
it will be a travesty if it's not the...
It's still not expected to be ready in time.
Ironically, it's not the one I care the most about.
Which one's the
one
I
love Zelda. About? I really love Zelda. But I'm really excited to play that new Mario they showed. They showed it on the first Switch trailer. They showed a new Mario game. It looks like Mario 64. I'm very excited to play that. I'm really excited to play Mario Kart. I love Mario Kart.
Are you excited to get the Mario for the phones?
Mario Run? I have mixed feelings. Apparently you need an always-on internet connection.
Even if you're not playing the game?
No, as long as you're playing the game, you need to be connected to the internet. That's the rumor I'm hearing about Mario Run.
Okay.
And that's a problem because it'll just eat up your data.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless you're playing it on the couch. But like I played Mirror's Edge. Like if you can't wait for Mario Run, go get Mirror's Edge. Because Mirror's Edge is really good on iOS. And it's the same thing. It's like the little character runs across the screen without commanding, right? They do it automatically. It's like playing Cube Runner. Didn't I show you Cube Runner?
Yeah, you showed me Cube Runner.
I'm sorry, Geometry Dash. That's the game.
No, I don't think I saw Geometry Dash.
So Geometry Dash is the same thing. It's just it slides and you hop. You tap the screen and you make the little character jump at the right time in rhythm, basically.
In rhythm, okay.
And, well, that's Geometry Dash is very much based around rhythm. Mario will be easier to decipher when to hit. And there's decision-making trees and things. Anyway.
Okay.
I'm really excited, but I'm less excited for the iOS game than I am for the Switch.
Okay.
Plus, $10 for an iOS game is kind of high. But if it's a high-quality game that takes a while to play through, maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
I know you can go to the Apple Store and try it now. It will only be coming to iOS. So if you have an Android, sorry, buddy. All right. What else?
So I'm assuming
and Splatoon. You haven't played Splatoon.
No, I have not played Splatoon.
I haven't played Splatoon either, but I've been looking forward to trying it, and that will be coming to the Switch.
I have not played very many games, so
we're gonna play a lot.
You know, I have school.
We'll have
I still got one more week.
We'll be able to 2-player in bed now. It'll be fun. Please stop giving me that look.
I was going to say that there are far more exciting things we could be 2-player in bed, but...
It's a family show. What's next?
All right. A group of loser neo-Nazis that call themselves the alt-right have once again taken to the favorite medium of cowards known as Twitter, this time to protest Rogue One, a Star Wars story, due in theaters December 16th.
What are they protesting Rogue One for?
They are protesting Rogue One because the film shares many of the franchise's anti-fascist themes.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now, according to the film's writers, the Empire is a white supremacist human organization opposed by a multicultural group led by brave women. So can you understand why the
drag
neo-Nazis...
my Star Wars into this?
Well, this isn't even the first Star Wars movie to have anti-Nazi messaging.
Oh, they've all had anti-Nazi.
Exactly.
Messaging.
I mean, A New Hope was basically all anti-Nazi.
I just want to point out that Star Wars is a story about a group of religious zealots that overthrow their government. So
that depends on how you look at it.
And if you look at Middle East, my whole theory, so check me in the comments on this one. My theory is that we didn't see Middle Eastern suicide bombings go up until the international release of Star Wars. I don't give a bleep about these guys.
We had bombings, Middle Eastern bombings before that.
Before the 70s?
Before 77, yeah. We had Middle Eastern bombings.
Yeah, but it ramped up. That's what I'm saying.
Well, it ramped up, but that's also when foreign policy in many of the Western countries went nuts.
There's a surprisingly large percentage of people who identify their religion, like on surveys, they identify their religion as Jedi.
Good for them.
Yep. I don't care. If you don't like the movie, don't go see the movie. Calling for boycott. That's why it's silly when the left does it too. Just don't go see the movie.
You know, it's...
If you're really upset about that, don't watch this YouTube channel either.
Yeah, what bothers me the most is, you know, you've got this group of people calling themselves the alt-right, which we all know they're white supremacists. We're not kidding ourselves there. And you know, these are the same people that complain about liberals and making fun of them for being special snowflakes that need safe spaces, and then at the same time they're trying to boycott a movie that doesn't agree with what they believe. Right. So it's like, so they need their own safe space from Star Wars? Is that what we're going with here?
And Mike Pence needs his safe space from theater geeks. Like, that's... Listen, the reality is it's silly when both sides do it.
Sure.
And the way that old saying goes is, he who sings loudest in church has the most to hide.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're calling for boycotts of things constantly, what's on your mind?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on behind... it's none of my business.
Well, that's why I was, mocking them, basically. They're cowards. They're not... A lot of these people aren't out in front of cameras calling for this. They're on Twitter, where there's...
Right, and they're not using their real names.
Yeah, there's still a degree of anonymity. It's like, if you seriously believe this, then come out and say it. At least own your beliefs, Yeah,
but then when they do that... Because you and I still remember a time when white nationalist groups would march.
They still march.
I hate Illinois Nazis, right? Like, that's the whole thing.
Well, they still march. I mean, there was a white supremacist march downtown not that long ago.
Yeah, and let them march and let them go stomp around, and if they try to control other people and make other people believe what they believe, or make other people do as they believe,
which is what they're trying to do with the boycott.
Not really.
Yeah.
They're not calling for Trump to ban it. That's what I'm talking about. Like, call for your boycott. Look silly. Everybody's got a right to look silly.
Mm.
Just keep it out of my friggin' government. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
So.
Which they're not, so,
Nobody gives a bleep about these yahoos. What's next?
People give a bleep about these yahoos. There are quite a few people. The people that they target, for one.
Okay, so the people that they target, right?
Uh-huh.
Like...
these are not harmless people. These are the people with guns.
Democrats are armed, too.
Sure, Democrats are armed.
I just like to remind everybody
the vast majority of the guns in this country reside in the hands of a very few.
Yes. Well, the vast majority of anything in this country resides in the hands of a very few.
True. But
the nice thing is with that is they only have 2 trigger fingers. Okay, so you got 800 guns. Pop. Now they're my 800 guns. End of story. Let them hide in their house and cradle their firearms and jerk themselves off at night to guns and ammo. And
if that's all they did, that'd be fine. Go masturbate to your guns.
It's
whatever.
It's when you target other people. That's a crime, by the way.
And it's when you what
they do when they target a single person
Sure.
like that. It's a crime.
Sure.
What I'm really upset about of all of this, the only part I give a bleep about is the lack of enforcement of this particular crime.
Yes.
That's the problem.
That is the problem.
If we can...
Or it's a problem.
Part of the problem of it, though, is that we have a Federal Bureau of Investigation,
Mm-hmm.
and this would ultimately fall into their jurisdiction unless the victim and the perpetrator existed within the same state. Otherwise, you're talking about interstate problems.
Right.
And I just don't know how I feel about expanding the FBI. That's the problem. There's other ways to do it.
Well, the other problem is...
hacktivism is really going to be the solution to this. So all the guys that go and target this one person, dox them. If somebody doxes somebody else,
mm-hmm.
that to me is fair game to dox them.
Okay.
So if you're gonna go dox your ex-girlfriend because you're mad at her, well, guess what, buddy? Guess what?
Okay, and for some of the people in the audience that may not be familiar with the terminology, what are you referring to by doxing?
Oh, doxing is when you make public people's things like phone numbers, address, email. Physical location, phone number, email. Yeah. People have a right to keep that information private.
Sure.
Until they take that right away from others.
Mm-hmm.
And doxing should be somewhat. There's the question is how do you even set rules around this stuff, right? It takes a lot of thought. Leave a comment. Leave me your suggestions. But in my opinion, somebody who doxes somebody else is a jerk and deserves some punishment for that.
Yes.
So let's figure that out in the comment section. I think it's a great way of figuring that out.
Yes, we've come a long way from writing girls' names and phone numbers on bathroom walls.
Yeah, but half of those numbers were dudes, right?
Yeah, I know half of those numbers were dudes. Not all of them were dudes. But
yeah. Though we haven't come a long way. When we went up to last time we drove, which was 4 or 5 years ago,
mm-hmm.
West Virginia. When we stopped in West Virginia, I had never seen it. Just the entire bathroom stall was scrawled with "for a good time," blah blah blah. It was everywhere. And so then I think when you see it that bad, you gotta contribute, right?
Oh God.
So I think I put.
I don't think you told me this story.
I think I wrote "Don Chat here," and moved on with my life.
Okay.
Yeah, when there's a lot of graffiti, it's kind of fun to add to it.
Okay.
You never be the first person to do the graffiti, and never be the second person. You gotta wait till it's almost a work of art in just how grotesquely graffiti this was.
Before you contribute?
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, bathroom graffiti is done neither for recognition nor financial gain. Therefore, it is the most pure form of art. Discuss in the comments. What's next?
That's it.
Really?
That was our 5.
That was our 5. So if you've gotten this far so far and you haven't hit subscribe, what are you doing? Hit subscribe. And show this to a friend, right? If you've gotten this far and you're enjoying yourself, that's the best way you can help us out. You hit the thumbs up, you leave a comment, and you share it. So this third section is traditionally, what the bleep have you done for the label?
Mm-hmm.
But what have you done for the label this week? You showed up for the podcast.
I showed up for the podcast, and also, if you run into me somewhere, I have download cards in my purse.
Do you have stickers?
I don't have stickers. You didn't give me stickers.
Take a handful of stickers. Anybody that buys a download card.
See, stickers.
Anybody that buys a download card gets a sticker.
Or you can buy the stickers for $1 each.
The stickers are $1 each otherwise, yep.
So
They're nice. They're latex or vinyl. No, they're vinyl.
I
They're
was gonna
vinyl.
say, latex is something else, dear.
I have something on the mind. I specifically went with a union print shop. So
Yes.
these are people that these are printed by unionized workers, and the owner is totally cool with them being unionized. In fact, he knows that somebody like me will go, "Oh, union, I'm down." Yeah. So I actually had them leave their logo on the front of the of the sticker. Get yourself a sticker. It helps us. It helps the show. It helps the label. It helps our artists.
Yes.
So get a sticker.
So yes, I will have stickers and download cards for $5 each.
Yep.
So if you run into me somewhere or you know me
Yep.
and you're watching this, yes.
And if you want either, right, you can use paypal.me/the Jazz Destroyers.
Okay.
PayPal.me/the Jazz Destroyers, and then when you send $5 and you'll get a download card, you'll get a sticker, and I'll pay for the shipping because it's like a stamp's what, 50 cents?
Somewhere in that neighborhood now.
Yeah, there's some minor cost to the envelope and the stamp, but if you want to throw an extra $1 at me for that, that would be nice, but not required. The additional shipping and handling will only go to making sure that everybody in the band gets paid because we split everything evenly after my 50 cents on these cards are recouped.
Yeah, so I should probably make sure you have access to stamps and envelopes for that, shouldn't I?
They're around.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
in the house. I got to send a bunch out anyway. We're
I
sending
figured
a
you'd
bunch
want
out.
slightly smaller envelopes. The ones I have are rather large, so
Yeah.
I can
So-
get you some.
So on that's kind of what's going on with us with the label right now. So we're gonna move over to this interview I did with David Komie. This is really special. This is our second interview. The first was Steve Albini. Next week we'll talk to Eric Seraphin, Mixer Man. So let's go ahead and cut to that. Get off my lawn! It's David Komie,
Correct.
and you're the attorney that rocks. I've
I
been
am.
so excited about having. I've been telling everybody, David Comey's gonna come because I drive by your billboard every single
Oh
day.
yeah, we're heavy out in Manor and Elgin because the prices are good.
That's right.
And also it's my demographic, kind of.
Kind of.
There's not too many rich people out here.
No. That's Shadow Glen maybe, but that's kind of mid-rangey in the grand spectrum of things.
I get the occasional rich person, but usually it's salt of the earth.
Salt of the earth, man. You're out there fighting the good fight.
Yeah, helping the little guy.
So you're an attorney. You do personal injury law.
I do.
And I saw on the website you do real estate law as well.
No, that's old.
That's old.
I've got my real estate broker's license, but I haven't done real estate law in a long time.
Real estate law is supremely boring.
Yeah.
Personal injury. You're out there fighting for the little guy. That's great.
Yeah.
How many cases do you handle a year?
I can't say per year, but I can tell you that I don't know, but I can tell you that right now we've got about 650 clients, open files.
Open cases.
Yeah.
So that means if it would take you a year if you were to finish up each one of those at twice a day. That's crazy.
Yeah. Some of them will be open a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Some are done quicker. The idea is to have that number grow, close out 2, but open 3.
Open 3, yeah. And just keep it growing.
Exactly.
Now, how long have you been doing that? You have been a fixture as long as I've been in Austin. I've been in Austin at least 10 years.
Well, I was already practicing law for 7 years before I moved here.
Okay. Where was that from?
Atlanta. I started there, and that's where I met my wife.
I saw that you did insurance law.
I did. I had a great mentor, and it was a great way to learn the business because I was on the side of the insurance company. And I learned all their tricks, and they've got a lot of them. And I learned the culture, which is very important. I learned what buttons to push. That it's their fear button.
Right.
And I learned how to make them squirm, and that's how you can kind of.
You can get this because you don't really want to take these things to court, right?
We will. We're happy to, but I mean, it's probably
expensive.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately the clients bore the expenses of it, but even though I do a lot of advertising, most of our work comes from referrals, and that's because I appreciate the fact that they want to feel better, get as much money as they can, and have it happen as fast as they can.
Sure.
So we're aware of the speed factor.
That makes sense. And it's mostly car accidents, I assume.
It's a lot of that. We have a lot of work injuries. We have some products cases, or defective products.
I should actually, before you jet, I should introduce you to my neighbor. ¿Se habla español? No.
No.
Okay.
My firm does, but not me.
So my neighbor was telling me one day, he's a roofer, and he was working on one of the crews that's working over on Breckenridge. And he told me that in the last year, I think 2 of his coworkers had died on the job site. And it's a lot of undocumented workers working there, and they weren't giving them their requisite breaks. And I had to explain to him, and he doesn't speak a ton of English, I don't speak a ton of Spanish, but I had to explain to him, like, Austin ordinance says you get a water break every hour.
I'm not aware of that.
Oh, because you don't do employment law.
Well, I do. I handle people who get injured on the job. If there's workers' comp, that's typically the exclusive remedy. That's all you can do, and it's a really crap system here. It's like very pro business.
Uh-huh.
However, there's a couple of exceptions that are, if you die, you can get out of the system if there's gross negligence. And then a lot of times people don't have workers' comp, and then they're called non-subscribers because they're not subscribing to workers' comp. And then there's a really low threshold for recovery there, and that's the kind of cases that we handle. We handle people, a lot of people that have fallen off ladders, or they're on this rickety scaffolding and it collapses. And
and my heart, anybody who watches the show a lot, I'm kind of a bleeding heart liberal, but my whole thing is like, why can't we just make these work sites safe? Like, construction is one of the most dangerous jobs you can do.
It's whoever owns the business is trying to make as much money as they can and keeping expenses as low as they can.
Yeah.
And I've got some construction going on at my house right now, and these guys have makeshift scaffolding, but they dance across it like they're like tightrope walkers. They're skilled.
Right.
But that still doesn't mean that it's up to code or it's safe or whatever,
Right, and you're sitting there going, no, get off of there.
They're playing around on there too. I see them. They have like 2 like metal posts with like a long piece of wood, and they're 15 feet up, but they're like dancing. One guy's bouncing, so the other guy has to like, and they're laughing.
You're sitting there like, come here, sign this waiver. Please sign this waiver.
I'm heavily insured, and they're not my employees. I didn't hire them, but it's interesting. So
it's funny how that works. And what is do you have a favorite case? Has there been one over the years that you've just absolutely loved?
I like the ones that pay great.
Yeah, that's
we try to help everybody. I look at everything equally.
Yeah.
I have some least favorite ones. I have ones like where people's kids have died and things like that. Those are rough.
Yeah.
My favorite cases are where the person actually gets, even though they were hurt badly, gets well.
Yeah.
And then they get paid handsomely for going through the problem, and that you take a bad situation and turn it around into the best positive you could make it.
That's
I would
true.
say if you're getting dealt a bad hand, at least let's play it to win.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But I've handled so many cases. I don't really have a favorite or a least favorite. Or
you don't have
like
one that stands out in your mind of like.
I'm getting kind of old now. It's like I've been at it since 1989. So
you're doing pretty well because you're about Tom's age, and Tom was on last week's episode. But you and I look like we went to high school together, so you're doing pretty good.
Well, the grays and the whites are coming in.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about, though, right? Because I'm not keeping an eye on time super well, but so we'll bounce back and forth. But you have a band, the Dharma Kings.
Right.
Am I pronouncing that right?
Dharma Kings, yeah.
And I'll put a card. I got a point here. I'll put a card right there for that, because that stuff was great. You sent me that because I went Googling, and somehow the search results, the fully produced videos are not the first thing that pops up.
I don't know how that works, you know.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I can actually see your like I have a Chrome extension called vidIQ. I can see your tags. I can make some recommendations.
Right. So, but we have a Facebook page and a website.
You got a huge Facebook page. You got a bunch of, or one of those. You had a bunch of likes, or
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more
it's just.
curiosity than actual likes a lot of times. But,
It's true.
yeah.
They see the billboard. They look you up. They go, "All right, what's his band sound like?" And then you see, and I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, people usually have your reaction like, I liked it. Like, I'm surprised. You know, I mean, people have pretty low expectations for me in that realm. So it's fun to try to exceed it.
You're not the first lawyer that's a musician, right? There's
I'm
actually a
sure.
trope.
I'm sure.
The old trope is that they all go into blues. So we got this in the community. We call them blues lawyers.
Oh, okay.
So they're the guys who go out and they do like corporate law and they make an unholy sum of money, and then they show up with the $10,000 amp and the $50,000 guitar and a pedal board full of stuff, and it's like they've been playing it. They're very much hobbyists, but they have all the toys that we all drool over. So it's a pejorative only because we're all jealous.
Yeah. So, you know, we have very few rules, but one of the rules that I like to stick to is stay out of the blues scale.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everybody's done that so many times in so many different ways, and you know.
Yeah. Who's
it's
your
interesting.
guitarist?
His name is Richard Jesse. He's pretty fantastic.
He is pretty fantastic.
He teaches a lot of touring, like full-time touring musicians. You know, I don't need to drop any names, but they come into town and they take lessons from him. You know, he's been making a living playing guitar for his whole life.
That's wild. What other projects does he play in?
Well, he's got his own thing, the Richard Jesse Project. He like picks up gigs. People will pay him really good money just to come and sit in and play a gig with them. He does studio work. He teaches lessons.
I have no idea what that's like.
So, you know, I met him one time. I bought a cabinet from him, a Koch cabinet that they retail for like $1,500, and he's had it for $300. So, anyway,
he's like, just get it out of my house.
I met him just through Craigslist, and we like immediately hit it off. I was hanging out with him after buying something from Craigslist. Then I took guitar lessons from him.
Very cool.
And then, you know, I've been through several members of this band. There's been several incarnations I
have no idea what that's like either.
As we've kind of progressed, I've kind of maybe like tried to keep up with the stages that we're playing on, you know, raise the level of musicians so that we could, you know, hold our own on those stages.
Yeah.
So, you know, after a while, I was just like, you know, let me just ask the best guitar player I know. And, you know, I was shocked that he said yes, and it gives us an excuse to hang out and things like that. So, you know, he's a good friend of mine, and
that's awesome.
I actually, you know, this is kind of corny, but when he said yes, I knew it was going to take us to another level, and I kind of like got emotional in my car when he told me that he would do it. I really expected him to say no, man, but I thought before I go down the same road that I've been on, let me just ask the best I know. And
that's the funny it's kind of like how everybody asks, how'd you get Steve Albini to do episode 9, and I asked.
Yeah.
I asked. Steve Albini didn't know who I am, and he had no idea. Did you get to, I think I sent it to you.
Yeah, I watched, I got through about half of it.
Yeah, he's thoroughly interesting.
Yeah, he's one of those intellectual, creative guys that I find fascinating. A lot of them have the same look with the short hair and the intense eyes and the glasses, you know, and they're like, you know, they're kind of intimidating in a way, but they're...
That's why I wear the shades. I wear the shade because I get that focus, and it's a little scary. So how many albums have you done with the Dharma Kings, and what's the latest one called?
The latest one's called Lords of the Dead.
And if I would have known, I would have had you bring me a copy, and I would have happily paid you for one.
Yeah, I didn't bring one. I
don't
even have my car.
I will absolutely send you home with this. This is a copy of the Jazz Destroyers Live.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead and check that out at your leisure.
Do you have Spotify or anything like that?
I do.
So all my stuff is on Spotify.
Spotify's cool. You know, Spotify just pays the musicians so badly, though.
Yeah.
That's why I still buy physical CDs happily because of that. And yeah, I'll check it out on Spotify. And what we'll do is I'll ping you. We'll get a Spotify. We'll get the links. I'll make sure there's a link in the description directly to your Spotify, and I'll see if I can pull it up. But that's a lot of. So how many? So that's the latest, and then.
So let's see. I've had 2 with Dharma Kings. I had one with my previous band called Mud Doctors, and I did a solo record in about 2010.
Okay.
And we're going to go back in the studio with Dharma Kings in mid-February.
Very cool. Which studio are you working with?
I'm either going to do Rick Del Castillo's studio, which we worked with a little bit last time, which is called Smiling Castle. And
Sure.
I don't know if you know Rick Del Castillo, but Del Castillo is a great band. Or I might go with my buddy Jimmy Quill, who's got Red Horse Studios down in Southeast, and Mark Younger Smith, the guy from Billy Idol. I might get him to engineer it. He actually worked on our last record some a little bit. So these are kind of like who I worked with previously that I really liked and enjoyed. I mean, we recorded all our stuff last time at Frenchie Smith's, and I really like Frenchie, and he really helped us. He actually helped produce the record, and I just I never really go back. I never really go back to the same place.
You know, so when I was a full-time mastering engineer, that drove me nuts. That because people do that, they try new people constantly, and it's like, hey, I'm still here. I still do good work. But yeah, if you keep going back to the same place and you keep using the same players and the same producer, it's pretty hard to progress and find that next level of thing, right? So I get moving on and finding the new thing and checking out some other ideas.
You know, it's kind of like lovers, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you love your monogamous relationship. You love to be with the same woman, but there's something exciting and thrilling about another one. And I'm totally monogamous, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but
as am I.
The, the vibe of the place and the person who takes you, mentally somewhere different can make music that's kind of similar sound a lot different. And Frenchie was great, and I think he really got a lot out of us, and he does a lot of great work and works with a lot of great bands. But I feel like we've kind of already been down that road one time, and I just want to
change it up. Yeah. And then what'll be great is, then you do that one, then maybe you go, oh, I'm totally going back to Frenchie. Who knows? The world is your oyster in that regard.
Yeah, hopefully we keep
How long
making them.
So you've made a few, so now, and you have other people produce them, which is.
I like working. Some people don't like working with a producer.
Right.
I do because I look at him more as a vibe master.
Right. That's, yeah.
If we're all having a good time and we're laughing and we're hitting some new realm, and it's fresh and that's the other thing. It's fresh and exciting for that producer because they haven't already,
They haven't played the song 100 times.
Yeah, and they haven't already worked with us once before. New friendships and fresh friendships are fun and exciting,
Absolutely. I'll tell you, Steve Albini is when you get on doing the next one, he's not terribly expensive for that level, but that's a totally, I think he's charging, what do you say, $1,500 a day or something up there?
Yeah, so our manager used to manage a band called the Wilds.
Okay.
And actually, their drummer is our drummer now.
Very cool. Who's your drummer?
Olive Perini.
Okay.
And the Wilds recorded their record in Chicago with Steve Albini. And it was a very good, solid record.
I bet it was a great experience, too.
I think that they were excited. I think they were excited about it. But I think our record sounds just as good.
Oh, absolutely.
And
absolutely. That's that part of it.
And we don't pay $1,500 a day, and we don't have to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
I can go home to my kids.
That's true. How many kids you got?
I have 2.
You have 2. I read this. So you have an older child.
I have a 13-year-old son and a 12-year-old daughter. And my wife and my 12-year-old daughter are actually in Latvia doing the final, the adoption's final, but they're getting the name changed stuff done at the embassy so she can become last name Komie. And
God, that's a mountain of paperwork.
Dude, it's been going on for 2.5 years, and it's expensive, and we're so ready for it to be totally done. So when she comes home Saturday, we're having a little celebration because it is totally done. And
That's awesome. So that will be the day before this episode comes out.
Okay, cool.
So that'll be very cool. So congratulations.
Thank you.
It'll be a big weight off your shoulders. Except the fact that you'll have 2 teenagers in the house.
Yeah, except I've got 2 teenagers in the house, and
I've heard a story that your oldest is terribly embarrassed by you. Somebody was somewhere and asked your kid, like, is that the lawyer that rocks, and just eye roll and just
yeah. So neither one of them. I think they think I'm a pretty cool dad, but all this other stuff that goes on, it's like, you know, they're into pop music, and you know, I'm not that cool to them.
Well, but what'll happen? Oh, I'm a jerk. I should have put that on mute. Over time, they'll come back around. I've yet to meet a 12, 13-year-old who really knows much about music, and they're very susceptible to marketing. In other countries, they actually don't let companies market to children under the age of 7. It's just verboten, right? So they're young, they're impressionable, and you've got this giant industry that's just designed specifically to make music for them, and get it into their ear. And we all went through it, you know. When I was in high school, because I'm in my 30s, so it would have been like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, that kind of stuff. And then
I'm classic rock from...
You're classic rock, but you would have been around probably the early 80s, right?
When
you were graduating high school?
I graduated high school in 1980.
1980.
So I was in high school in the 70s, you know.
So it was a lot of Eagles and a lot of... I'm trying to think what the...
Yeah, but I mean, it was
disco.
also...
You came out of the disco era.
Yeah, but I mean, the top of the Billboard charts, there was a lot of Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin
and awesome. Yeah.
There was a lot of rock and roll. I mean, I thought what was lame would be like stuff like Journey or something like that. And now it's like it's so lame, which you have like Justin Bieber's got 3 songs in the top 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
And my kids think that that's cool.
That to them it's the coolest thing ever because they have no frame of reference. All we can do is try to let them know about the other stuff that's going on or that has gone on. Like I remember the first time I heard Pink Floyd, it was like I'm going down that rabbit hole. I own every Pink Floyd record ever made. Yeah.
I did my in high school. I did my like first like downers, listening to some. I think it's either Dark Side of the Moon or Pink Floyd.
Or Animals.
One of those. And I was at a party and I was just in this lazy boy and I could not get out of it and I did not want to get out of it and I got lost in it and
that's
the way to listen to Pink Floyd.
That is kind of the way to listen to Pink Floyd. Not that we condone illicit drug use, kids.
No, I mean, that was a long time ago.
Long time ago. So Pink Floyd, Zeppelin, who else? I heard.
I mean,
I heard a little bit of like that late '90s, the hints of new metal and things come out in the music a little bit, but that might just be the fact that we all produce things in such a way now. So who else would you consider your influences?
My influences? I mean, as a kid, I was total Beatles freak,
Yeah.
I think everybody my age kind of.
Just about everybody my age, too.
I mean, well, obviously what they did was pretty fantastic. And then I got into, harder rock. I mean, when Aerosmith was new, when AC/DC was new, when AC/DC came out and they were new, I mean, that was so heavy. I'd never heard guitar that heavy.
Yeah.
Just
Angus Young taking his SG and just turning it up to 11.
And then it was, Alice Cooper, Ted Nugent, Nazareth, Cheap Trick. I mean, all those were kind of, I like the harder edge rock bands at the time.
Sure.
There wasn't really like this new metal thrash scene yet or anything.
No, that came like when I was in high school. That new metal stuff, I remember like the first time I heard Slipknot and Puddle of Mud, and some of that stuff was really awful and some of it was really cool. Like,
we just played with Puddle of Mud.
Did you? Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Yeah.
I bet they're just the nicest guys.
They have a history of like that singer really screwing up. He's like a big drinker, I believe, and but he was good. I actually learned from him when we played. So they played actually before us. We played in between Puddle of Mud and Ace Frehley.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it was kind of like a slot we probably didn't deserve. But so he played his microphone like a trombone.
Right, you pull it. That's the.
As he'd pull away, and he always he was his own mixer.
Yep.
And you know,
yeah, we call that work in the mic.
I've made people cringe, I'm sure, by getting right up in the mic and being.
And you don't grab it by the ball by the grill anymore, do you?
No, I don't take it off a mic stand anymore.
Yeah, because if you grab a mic, you know how some guys will grab it right by the grill there on the SM58s. You're actually changing the sound because it screws everything. It actually makes it more feedback prone. So, pro tip.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, the Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston, those are really good to study on how to work the mic, because when they start belting the mic, you'll see the microphone come about that far with it from their face.
Well, I've actually seen a better reaction, in our live show since I started doing that. And I practice it in practice, and when you're really belting it out, you back off a little bit, and then at the end of your line, you're trying to get some more texture. You come back up and you just play. You be your own mixer.
Right.
And since I'm not playing an instrument anymore with the band, it gives me something else to kind of keep myself occupied.
And now we got to get the mic off the stand in your hand and get you strutting around like Alice Cooper.
Well, I'm actually going the opposite direction. Nobody really wants to see like a middle-aged dude with dreadlocks, strutting around.
Though the dreadlocks are awesome. I think I read that's naturally occurring for you.
Oh yeah.
They just do that.
Yeah, man. My hair goes straight out.
And then do any of the so if you ever when you have to go in for court to litigate something, do the judges ever harass you for it, or
I don't go to court.
You send a litigator in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling you, my buddy, my father's old roommate started trial.com. That's a bunch of litigation attorneys.
Yeah.
I did mock trial in high school, and to this day, it's one of my proudest moments because I made the kid on the stand cry.
That's pretty tough to do.
I just like turned him around until he couldn't even remember what he was supposed to say, and just pointed it out, and we lost the case, but we also got individual marks, and I got high marks. I remember just going, I got to go work. I got to pay for my car. I can't keep doing this, but
yeah,
I probably wouldn't have enjoyed that because I took a couple law classes. Law school, I don't know how you did it without pulling your hair out.
I mean, it was nerve-wracking at times.
I bet. Where did you go?
I went to Mercer University in Macon, Georgia, which is how I ended up in Atlanta. I got recruited to a job there. Yeah, it was a great small school in a cute little town, and it was fun. And but it was kind of nerve-wracking. I mean, it's a lot of work, and
yeah, it
was a lot of pressure. I did ended up doing pretty well, but and I found it engrossing,
Sure.
It's a Socratic method, so there's a lot of questions being asked and discussions, and I was engaged, and I really liked it. It was the first time I really applied myself in school.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you coasted your way into law school, and then you're like, all right, time to hunker down. That's when you're taking the most student loans, so that is the time to do it.
Yep, I had what now? My student loans when I was finished were about $60,000, which at the time seemed insurmountable, but people are doing that per year now.
Per year, and to get a bachelorate. Because you'll go to Harvard and pay that. Actually, I think Harvard's $80,000 for a bachelorate.
There's a real question these days whether it's worth it.
Yeah.
Whether higher education is really worth it.
Well, I hate the fact that they stick a price. I'm a Bernie guy, right? I think that like Texas State should be publicly funded, and anybody should be able to go to Texas State free of charge, as long as they can make it in, because then it would make Texas State one of the most competitive schools in Texas. And I'm all for, because I think that there's a lot of value in going to college, because college you can just tell in the world when you talk to people who went to college versus not. Everything about them is very different. That changes your whole outlook when you go down that rabbit hole of like especially liberal arts degrees, when you study the human condition. It's an interesting, because somebody who didn't go, they've never taken that time to like do a bunch of reading of literature and take a couple art history courses, and I don't know, to me, I just kind of found out that everybody's people are always the same. The technology changes, but people don't really change. And large groups of people are always kind of predictable in certain ways too.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
remember that, North Dakota.
Sociology was something that I was interested in. The study of large groups of people.
I imagine.
But it's something that you're saying is interesting to me because, we really are very much the same, with the same needs and wants and desires, all coming from the same particle dust and all that kind of stuff. Yet we're here in the States, we're so divided.
Oh yeah.
I mean.
And George Washington was like, "Don't break into parties. Don't do it. Don't do the thing." We did the thing. Yeah, the politics of it all. I try not to get too political on this show. I've allowed a couple of moments of it, but honestly, like, I try to respect everybody's politics. And what happened to me and all of my friends was we all were on one side, and we were told, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. There's no way he could win."
Right.
And then he won, and everybody was shocked.
Yeah.
And that caused me to do a lot of soul searching, a lot of reflection, and I figured out I let, especially social media, but the whole media, I let it manipulate my feelings and thoughts. I voted early. I went and I pulled the lever. I should have voted third party, and I didn't. And I let them manipulate me into not voting third party, and I will never, ever do that again. This election it'll just change everything.
So, without getting too political, I mean, I think that, the media is basically, you can find the media outlet that you want to listen to or watch that'll tell you what you want to hear.
And that'll be it.
And if you go there long enough and then, chat with people of the same thing, you feel like that, you kind of feel like that's the only world view or spiritual view or any view that there is. And then when it doesn't go your direction, you can be very fearful. And, I blame the media for all the fear that there is right now.
I do too.
Because if you're telling people so that your side will win, if you're telling people that the other side is, Hitler's and Charles Manson's love child.
Yeah.
But then that guy wins, everybody's freaking out, But,
And it may be true.
So this guy won.
Yeah, he won.
You're still having your podcast.
I'm still having my podcast.
You're still in your comfortable chair.
It is a comfortable chair. I'm sorry I don't have a more comfortable chair.
I'm cool. It's like I learned that before because I got emotionally invested, I guess, when George W. Bush won. Yeah. And I was like, oh, my God.
You're talking about the first time?
The first time. I think when he beat Gore, when it finally came out that he beat Gore, because, I was like, I felt.
And then you're going, Nader, but it wasn't Nader.
Well, but I woke up, though, the next day, and it was gorgeous outside, and there was no barbarians beating down my door, and I just went, I ate at my favorite restaurant, and everything was kind of the same.
Yeah, except we went off to a couple of foreign wars. Like, that's the But then, under the current administration, we've bombed 17 different countries, so nothing changes. Just love one another. That's what I always say.
Yeah, there's no bombs dropping, on Austin, Texas, and nobody's beating down the doors to take your things. And so we're actually pretty lucky whether it's got this face or that face at the top. I mean, none of them get anything done really anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with the way, because it's so divided, Congress is so divided, it just deadlocks.
And I'll go back.
Probably best case scenario.
I mean, there's not everything that people that think differently than you and your friends, everything that those people think is bad or wrong. And I think there's some people that on both sides that think what they think is actually right, but I don't think they have all the information, and there really might be a better way. And
there's so much information.
There's so much information.
That it's actually impossible to process all of the information.
And there's so much information we don't have.
Yeah. That's true. It's that old Donald Rumsfeld thing, right? We have our known knowns, our known unknowns, and our unknown unknowns. And the thing that'll always get you is the unknown unknown, where you don't even know that you don't know it. Yeah, that's...
I mean, we're not in Aleppo, or there's plenty of food. There's food or we're not in Venezuela. There's food in the grocery stores. I mean,
There are.
it's really kind of, most of it is semantics.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Though I'm sure the comments will light up, but I'm
not even taking a side. I'm just
I think at this point, if you're unhappy with the status quo, it should be clear to everybody at this point, voting is not simply enough. Like, let's not pretend that voting is actual participation. Actual participation is go run for office if you're really upset about how things are. Because that's the only way, because you can't if it's the same two rich people that are always running against each other and always winning and nothing ever changes, then what's going to lead you to believe that something's going to change when this new rich person it's if you're going to complain about it, you should get involved at least on a larger level than just voting. But
I think you make change by being the leader of your household and being a great friend and being a good brother or family, relative, and service to others and
a community leader. Absolutely.
You don't need. This is my opinion. You don't need to solve all the problems of the world. You solve the problems that are in front of you in a way that has a lot of integrity.
That's a good point. Though I should point out you might be the first lawyer to ever talk about integrity. I like that.
Yeah.
Though I don't hang
out with any lawyers, just so you know.
I have some friends that are lawyers, right? My buddy I told you about, he practices trademark law and immigration law, and then I knew another girl who was also a personal injury attorney. I find it. How do you fall into personal injury though? Because that seems like the one where. Well, because you don't hang out with other attorneys, so that you don't feel the stigma from that.
So, I was in law school and we all competed for grades and to make law review and that kind of thing. And so you do that so that you get recruited to make a lot of money or something like that, So I got a job with a firm that was defending insurance companies, and I loved the guy who was the top guy in this pretty large firm, and he took me under his wing. My office was right next to his. I was his kid, and I learned it, and then I saw that as I got better at it, I started sending these huge checks to the other side, and I was like, and they were actually helping people. I was reporting back to insurance company adjusters or whatever. And
where you lose one and you're going.
And well, fortunately, I didn't lose any, but if you won one, they'd be like, a monkey could have won that thing. But I knew people that had lost and they got chewed out, and you always had to worry that they would pull the cases from you or your firm. And, we would do social things with them, and I just was like, we were I was not connecting with these people whatsoever. I was actually closer with my opposing counsel that were plaintiffs' lawyers. I actually hung out with them, would, hang out with them a little bit, and they were more like me.
With them more. Yeah.
I did, and then I sent them some really large checks, and I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, that makes sense. And when did you get started? So that you did that for 7 years. So did you start in Georgia doing personal injury, or did you come to Austin?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Austin, it seems like a good place for personal, because there's so many drunk drivers.
Yeah, it's good. Traffic is terrible.
Traffic is really terrible.
Workers or bosses are having shortcuts. It's just a dense population. There's a lot of things going on.
Dense population, a lot of competition for resources.
Yeah, and my field's very competitive, but I have managed to. I have my own little niche.
That's right. You're the attorney that rocks. I bet every musician that gets in a car wreck calls you.
I get a lot of musicians. I get artists. I get women, minority women, minority men. My demographic is very, like I said, very regular person, salt of the earth that maybe doesn't trust the guy with the suit and tie all buttoned up with the same hairdo as everybody else, talking. And when you speak with them, that they're just basically figuring out how much money they're going to make off your case. And
yeah,
I just
And do you do it do you do it on a percentage of the payout?
Yeah, it's called contingency fee.
Contingency fee.
Which is great. You don't have to keep a time card.
Right.
You know.
And you don't have to start talking about how much. So, like, if I call an entertainment lawyer and I start saying, I could use some consultation, they go, well, I charge $500 an hour. And I go, well, I guess I'm going to have to risk it. So, that...
Yeah, I'll figure out this contract by myself.
I did. I did. It's 5 pages. If you want to take a look at it, I would not presume to ask you to spend any time doing legal stuff on my behalf. We just, and the way I look at it is, even if I lift myself a great big old hole and it comes back and bites me, I'm so well intentioned that at least I can win the court of public opinion. Where maybe I screwed something up with the contract and I didn't quite, and monetarily it'll hurt. But I'm just a guy trying to do it as well as I can.
At this point, you're fine. I mean,
when
it starts becoming real money at stake, then, I don't even think you need $500 an hour, but $300 an hour, pay somebody. When there's real money at stake, then it seems like instead of, $300, it feels like $30.
That's true.
Then you need it at this point.
That's true. Yeah, when it comes back to that catch-22 with bands. Like we talk about this a lot on the project, on the podcast. Like, so Dharma Kings, you guys gig, you guys sell tickets, you sell albums, and that helps fund the next project. I'm sure not nearly as much as you'd like, but
yeah, I mean, we just got a royalty check for $12.
Hey, you're doing better than me. I haven't gotten a royalty check.
I get about the same amount every quarter, so I fund a lot of things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I fund a lot of things. And
you're in a unique position.
I'm in a unique position, and if I'm going to put the time in, I got to figure out, if it's one of my advantages to get a leg up. It's also a very competitive field. There's so many bands around here, and a lot of them are great.
A lot of them are great.
And there's a very limited number of venues, and there's so much music out there. I mean, seriously, I feel like I could put out a record. Not that I'm capable of, but I theoretically put out a record that had 10 number one hits on it.
Sure.
And I might not be able to get 500 people to listen to it.
I know the feeling.
So it doesn't matter. It's like if a tree falls in the woods, can you still hear it?
Right. Well, our whole thing is there's a couple of different ways to approach it, right? You're kind of going for the large festival thing, the very large venues and such. And that's a good way of doing it. It's a tried and true way. But the pitfall with that is you wind up with all the leeches. They come out of the woodwork to latch onto you. What we're trying to do is we're just trying to collectivize all of our smaller audiences together. And then all of a sudden, instead of having 100 fans, we all have 1,200 fans. And it's that old, 1,000 true fan theory that we're trying to go after.
We're doing that a little bit more now. Now that we have a real manager.
Yeah. And if you need help with stuff, I mean, obviously you're a friend of the show, you're a friend of the label. I do YouTube stuff. I can help you get that going. I will tell you this, the reason we do this podcast is because YouTube is weekly. If you're not consistently uploading weekly, YouTube will actually not show your videos to as many people. And so then you have to spend a lot of money advertising and such, but you'll find the channels that have weekly, daily, twice weekly, a consistent upload schedule, they are the ones that have that growing fan base all the time. And yeah, when I've got 100 and I'm growing at 10 a week, it kind of sucks, but I am growing 10% a week. So if I can keep that growth going, hopefully, so go subscribe and thumbs up. But that's,
perseverance. The people that I know that have been successful are the ones that keep going when 98 out of 100 people would have quit.
Right. And we'll see how it goes. This is relatively new for me. I did major label stuff. I've worked in the industry to an extent, but I just, like you found you weren't happy with the way working in corporate law was. I found I wasn't happy trying to chase after major label gigs.
Yeah, and that part of the industry is not what it used to be.
Oh yeah, and so it's all kind of consolidating. I think I predicted on the last show. Eventually, the entire industry will collapse into a single company that will own the major venues. It will own all the contracts to all the major name artists, and it'll own the back catalog to all of the anything you can ever think of. Because eventually, record sales will consolidate down to where only one company can do it.
That should be an addendum to 1984.
Yeah. Well, and what'll happen is that everybody will realize, oh, it's one company spoon feeding me this. This is no good. And then here's Get Off My Lawn Records, like the little mammal, right, as the dinosaurs went extinct. That's why when I asked Steve Albini, I'm the maniac who started a record label. He's like, it's not a bad idea. Because being small right now is almost advantageous. It keeps us nimble.
And the main thing is to do what you love. That's what I tell my kids.
Yeah.
I have 2 rules for them. Be a good person. Do what you love.
That's a pretty good outlook.
Yeah, it pretty much covers just about everything.
Just about everything. Be a good person. Do what you love.
Yeah, I've made some decisions in my life along the way that was more after the pursuit of material things.
Yeah.
And I find myself,
it's just stuff.
Yeah, and I find myself 20 years older than I should be doing some of the things I'm doing.
That's what I love about you, though, that you're sticking to the story, and it's seriously admirable. Because a lot of I work with, because guys my age, we start sprouting gray hair, and those of us who aspire to be rock stars, we start going, well, I guess my time's up. I guess I should go take this job, and then they have to go live this life of not feeling like they ever achieved anything, right? I never amounted to nothing. I could have been a contender, that kind of thing. But you have persevered through it. It's absolutely admirable.
I've done a lot of different things. One time I stopped being a lawyer for 3 years to be a tennis coach at my alma mater. I played tennis.
What's your rating? You still play?
No, I've got a kind of a bad shoulder.
Oh.
But,
the reason I'm asking,
I was on a tennis scholarship for college and played some pro
so you would have been
tournaments.
like 5'5", maybe even a 6.
When I was younger.
Yeah.
But they didn't even have ratings back then.
The USTA rating wasn't around
No,
then?
I mean, when I first started playing tennis tournaments, I played with wood rackets.
Oh, man.
We wore mostly all white. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want, I remember when pastel colors came out, it was like kind of crazy. Light blue and light yellow. Now it's so loud, and I mean, it's a beautiful thing, but
I love tennis. Tennis is so my number one sport is obviously hockey. I love basketball too, but I played a lot of tennis. I used to go to my father, I grew up in that part of the country, so we used to go to the US Open every year.
I mean, that's a great event.
Oh, it's so cool.
Such a good vibe. Did you ever see like Jimmy Connors or?
That was before me. I was there right as the Williams sisters were getting big. Anna Kournikova, that was quite the sight. Martina Hingis, that kind of generation of players.
Got it.
Andre Agassi, I got to see Andre Agassi's last year.
Pete Sampras.
Oh yeah, Pete Sampras was so funny because his tongue was too big for his mouth.
Yeah.
The tongue out of his mouth, and you're sitting there like, he's goofy looking, but damn, he can really smack the crud out of that ball. And I wasn't. My sister took it a lot more seriously than I did. She went to camp, and I'm sure I'm terribly out of shape now, but in both of our primes, she could totally wipe the floor with me. But I remember back then being about 19, and I could hold my own with people that had much more skill, but only because I had the reflexes of a cat. And they're sitting there like, yeah, you can't teach somebody to be 19.
No, the youth is a beautiful thing.
Oh, so it's wasted on the young.
Yeah.
That's all right. But yeah, that's awesome. Do you have any other thoughts? Anything you want to? I mean, obviously, if somebody gets injured, they should call you.
Of course they should.
But
actually, for anything legal, most people call me for anything legal because
you turn into their guy.
Well, I know who to get them to that's honest, that passes muster with me. Somebody that I would send a family member of mine to.
That makes sense.
So I'm usually the point person for almost a lot of people's legal situations.
That's very cool.
Which I don't mind. It's cool.
That's very cool. And where is your office?
I'm north at Lamar and 183.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I work right over there. We'll have to go get lunch one of these days.
Yeah. You ever been to Kim Fung?
I like Kim Fung.
We can walk there from my office.
Though the place I really like over in that neighborhood is Ramen Tatsuya.
I haven't been there. We'll have to go there.
Yeah, we'll have to go there. That place that's why it's the Japanese noodle house.
Let's check it out.
It's really legit.
Got it.
Yeah. So thanks for coming. I really appreciate you taking the time to come out to Manor and chat with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the fact that, you have the desire to interview me. I know. I figure at some point that's going to stop, so I want to make sure I take all the opportunities, and it gives an opportunity for me, like 25 years from now, we have a timestamp of our conversation. That's
true. One day your kids will be like 30, and hopefully they come back and they find this video on the some archived thing, and they're like, holy cow, that's my dad in his prime.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't know what downers are.
It sounds like you're raising them right. I think
trying.
I think they'll know what they are, but I think they won't have partaked.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what you want. You want kids that know what they are, but then choose not to do them. Yeah, that's a tough one. Man, keep in touch. Let me know when you got the next record coming out. We'll certainly give a shout out here on the podcast, even though we're not putting it out unless you want us to put it out. But we're kind of small.
Well, like Dharma Kings on Facebook.
Absolutely, I already did.
Okay, cool.
I think I did. I'll double check.
All right, brother.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool.
Get off my lawn! So that was a lot of fun. I want to send a big thank you again to David. He drove all the way out. It was actually quite a drive. I had no idea he was driving that far. So if you we'll make sure there's a link in the description to his law practice and to his band.
Yes.
I think I promised I'd put a couple cards to a card to his YouTube, the videos. If I haven't, I'll do that right here. And yeah, so if you're still watching, thank you for watching. This is a lot of fun. We like making these. So the first thing we're going to do is we have our announcements. The first announcement is that there will be a very special episode of the podcast this week. So I do these in sequential. This is number 11. Mm-hmm. But I drop these special ones. The Volca unboxing and the Mother 32 unboxing. I think those are our first two. Uh-huh. We have a new one coming. Tom bought a Supro.
Yes.
And last weekend we recorded that. And that was a lot of fun, though it's apparently back at Sweetwater. It's having issues, so I will keep everybody posted. It wouldn't fire up today. It was just giving him hum.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So they're going to do a warranty repair on it, and maybe we'll do something with the Supro when it gets back from Sweetwater.
Okay.
We have our first... So I also know that I have one too many Freeform Fridays.
You miscounted?
I miscounted. So my first week of 2017 will be a 2016. Okay. It's a little bit of a relief because the January 2nd session is starting to turn into a larger thing.
How large are we talking?
Probably 8-9 people.
Okay.
So where like a bull at the gates, that was 5 people. Uh-huh. Because we didn't even have Greg.
Right.
Or Steven shoot that. I just set up static cameras and we went. This one will probably be a little more complex.
Okay.
And when we do those, like the Harp by Andrea, that's what I consider a little more complex. Mm-hmm. When we do that, it takes a little longer time to edit and mix, and we'll probably cut more videos that day than usual. Mm-hmm. But
there's also a lot more that goes on behind the scenes too for the bigger.
Yes, but it'll give me an extra week to get the first. Well, it's really getting everything together and prepped, and then getting that first video edited. Mm-hmm. After that, they tend to roll a little faster. I'm getting better at it, but it's a lot of work. So we got that going. The other announcement I have is Best of Freeform Fridays 2016.
Yes.
Is mastered.
It's mastered.
I gave Tom the reference copy because the CD text was bad, so I got to burn another reference copy.
Okay.
Another master copy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I actually have to burn 2. I need to burn 1 to listen to for myself,
Mm-hmm.
and then I burn 1 that I use only to make, like I listen to it once, and then I use it only to make copies of it.
Yes.
And so we will have CDs available for this. If we can sell enough CDs, I'll do a vinyl run, but vinyl runs are very, very expensive. We're talking, it to even do 100. I looked into it. I could do a vinyl run of 100, but my direct output cost would be like $1,300 in shipping. So they'd still cost me $15, $16. We'd have to sell them for $25 just to make it make sense. So we'll do the CDs first. But I did commission artwork.
You did.
So this week we've got our Supro will be our very special episode. But next week you'll see this unboxing video where we take a look at what's in this, which is the layout and it's the cover, the front and back cover.
Okay.
It's the original work.
Yes.
It's I believe a watercolor.
Okay.
And it's like 18 by 36. So I have to look.
And who created this?
This was my mother's.
Yes.
My mother did this one. And I'm not sure how I'm going to photograph it yet to turn it into the digital art.
We'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out. So, but we're going to do an unboxing of this.
Yes.
We'll film that after we film this episode. And that video will come next week. This week is the Supro episode. Other than that, there's not been a lot of news. So we're working at it. Right? So I did want to do my giveaway.
Yes.
Everybody who hangs around for the giveaway. I got this in the mail. And it's Change is Good. 2 stories from the Austin area.
2 stories or
True.
2 stories?
It's got a weird font. It kind of looks like TWE, but the E kind of looks like an O. And true stories from the Austin area. They're not actually from the Austin area. This is a franchise. I haven't read this book, but I'm going to give it away. It's copyright 2015. Good Catch Publishing in Beaverton, Oregon.
Oh.
So that's pretty cool. Looks like this was originally written in 1973. And it's published in Beaver. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is written in 2015. There's some Bible quotes in here. And there's copyrights to the editions of the Bible quotes. So I got this in the mail, and it just said, like current addressee, postal customer, I think is what it said. And it had my address, and this was all cellophane wrapped. And inside of it had this card. GCP, right? Congratulations, you have been randomly chosen to receive this book as a free book promotion. You did not order it, and there is nothing for you to do. I agree. I did not order it. There is nothing for me to do. We hope that you'll read this book, enjoy it, pass it on, and hopefully talk to your friends about it. Have a great day. So I decided to take them up on that offer. I am talking to my friends about this.
Yes.
So I started thumbing through this last night. At first I went, what the F is this? And I open it up and I start thumbing through it, and it's like, oh, religious propaganda. It's what it is. It's religious propaganda. By the way, if you need to read anything to decide to become Christian, might I suggest the Bible? I would have appreciated
Specifically the New Testament.
Specifically the New Testament, yes, and specifically the red letters.
Yes.
But so what I call this kind of stuff, I call it bad fanfic. Is what it is. The claim in here is that all the stories are absolutely real, and that these are absolutely real people, but their names have been changed to protect their identities. And it's your typical it's not very bad. It's not very well written, My initial reaction was, this is going in the recycle bin. But I decided, it'd be more fun. And really, like, maybe somebody wants to read some bad Christian fanfic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I'd give it away. So here's how we're going to do it. I want you to leave a comment on this video. And then I want you to send a message. Send a Facebook message.
Mm-hmm.
Or an email. Right?
Okay.
There's an email submittal form on getoffmylawnrecords.com.
Okay.
But either way, either message us through Facebook or send an email through the website.
Mm-hmm.
Leave a comment and then send me the message with that comment that you left. I'm going to pick one of these at random. I will get your shipping address. It's probably going to cost me $5 to send this out to somebody. But I'm sending this to somebody. I felt a little bad, like, putting it in the pile to go into the recycle. So, it's not very well written. It's pretty funny. And it's very preachy. And that's what I'm doing because I'm still trying to figure out if I agree with this or not. I was thumbing through it last night, reading it to you kind of sarcastically. And I figured out which church they're specifically trying to push. Like, the whole thing is designed to get you to go to this church.
Right.
And this church is GT Austin.
Okay.
And God bless you guys. God bless you guys. This was not a good choice in spending your money. You could have spent the church's money in much better ways.
They're not one of those groups that
This is there's a lot of
stands
homeless
on the corners and
I don't know.
solicits money, are they?
I hope not. I really hope not. But you guys, you can help the homeless, not send me this book. So please, reconsider, pray on this, and reconsider whether or not what you did was a good idea here. This is badly written, and I don't think it's going to be very effective to get people to your church. But it turns out that GT Austin is actually part of a franchise. There's a whole franchise of these churches. So it seems like there's this whole marketing machine built around getting people into these churches. So when I call it a cult, I'm calling it a cult. I'm sorry. As a fellow Christian, your church is a cult.
Yeah, that sounds like they shouldn't be getting the tax write-off for it.
No.
It's like you don't get to just call yourself a church when you're really a business.
Well, it's kind of... The difference,
It's not how it works.
I would actually, if anybody wants to send me a copy of Dianetics, I would appreciate, I would actually like to read Dianetics.
I thought we had a copy of Dianetics.
I have a copy of Scientology I found in a half-price books.
Oh.
I'd actually like to read Dianetics. So if anybody's got a copy and they want to send it to me, get in touch and we'll figure out how to do that. And no, I'm not becoming a Scientologist. I just want to read Dianetics. I'm just an open, I read Scientology. That was hard to read. Because it's written in a really contorted way. And it's kind of deliberate to, like, get you off of your game.
L. Ron Hubbard was never a good science fiction writer.
Battlefield Earth wasn't bad.
You sure?
Yes.
Are you really sure?
Yes, I'm really sure. The books are actually really good.
You sure you weren't on something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I have nothing but respect for Scientology and what they do. It's not for me. I want to read Dianetics because I can't get in college we talk about this, right? I had that near miss. They tried selling me a copy and it was like they wanted like $12 for it. And by the way, this has a price tag on the back of it.
$14.95.
$14.95. These books, Greg Sisko, I don't think is charging $14.95 for these for this kind of book. It's a very similar tactic these guys are doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So please, have a read and then do whatever you want with it. Just send me and I'll pick somebody at random. So get in contact and we'll figure that out. If anybody has any interest in having this artifact. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on. We're doing our giveaways. And you know what? Here's what we'll do. I'll give you a download card
And a sticker. So everybody gets a sticker.
Download card and a sticker. Hashtag everybody gets a sticker. All right. So So yeah, that's kind of what's going on with the label, and those are our announcements. Our goals, we hit 100 episodes, so this is really because we did the 100. Like
100 episodes or 100 subscribers?
Sorry, 100 subscribers. We're currently at 103. We're doing we're approaching 100 videos on the YouTube channel because we break these up into clips.
Oh, that's right.
So we crossed our 100th subscriber. So woo.
Woo.
We should figure out noisemakers and stuff. Like the Young Turks, they do that. No, oh God, no. No, not with the microphones this hot. I just want a button. I want to be able to push a button. I don't want to have to.
Oh.
I don't
I was
want
gonna say we got a drawer full of.
I do. I have a drawer full of little percussion things. But I mean, like, I want a sound effect. I want a little box right here. So.
See, the only boxes I've ever seen like that made like explosion noises.
Even better. Can you imagine how great this show would be if I had explosion noises? We have keyboards. I could hook one of those up to a sampler.
Yeah, you could.
I can make this happen. I'll just have to make this happen. So those are our announcements. We got to our 100. The Jazz Destroyers crossed 153. So
awesome.
We're at 153 on that. We released Mother.
Yes.
Which we did as a giveaway. We did as a freebie in a previous episode. We gave everybody early access because we were kind of holding on to that one. Mm-hmm. I've got another one I'm holding on to that we'll release when we get to 200.
Okay.
So that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah. So what's next?
Oh no, what is next?
It's our shout outs.
Is that our shout outs?
It's time for our shout outs.
Time for our shout outs. Okay.
Now I do this like throughout the week, right? And I'm not sure I'm not sure how the name wound up on my board. So I will figure that out after the video.
Don just writes names down and doesn't write down why.
Well, the second one I know exactly why, right? But I don't. Thomas Arson, I think he's a musician. I think I met him through the Synth Memes group. And I think I really liked what he was doing. Or it was the YouTubers group. I'm in a YouTubers group, by the way.
And Thomas, if it turns out that he's completely wrong, please let us know.
Yes. Absolutely. Do like a video yourself, like making fun of me for getting this so very wrong. I did want to give a quick shout out to Nick Minchin.
Okay.
I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. He's got a great YouTube channel on how to build a YouTube channel. Like, we do a lot of stuff here that's kind of transparent to the audience. Mm-hmm. But his channel's been helping me a lot. I joined this Facebook group that he moderates.
Okay.
And I think he's got a thing. I might get a thing from him.
A thing?
To show my support. Yeah, like, there's like this whole cottage industry now of these guys that make YouTube videos about how to get YouTube views.
It's the self-help of YouTube.
It is the self-help of YouTube. But I like this guy, and he juggles, and so does George.
Juggles. Okay.
So, it's interesting. He has been helping. He's been helping us achieve some of these goals.
Okay.
So, so a shout out to him, and a shout out to Christopher Peterson, who I think I met through the Synth Memes group. I'm on this Synth Memes. We're having a good old time. We are making fun of all the synthesizers. Because I love me some synthesizers. I'm making a whole album with Korg Volkas.
Yes.
You're sitting next to a Kawai K5, a Yamaha DX7, and a big old MIDI controller that's got a bunch of crap on it.
Yes.
And then behind you got an MP7 and my Sub Fatty.
Yes.
And I got a rack full of stuff here. I have an M3R, an S330 TX81Z. I got MIDI stuff. I'm just, I love synthesizers. I've always loved synthesizers. I got the MS-20 controller up there. But I don't make a ton of electronic music except for It's a Secret to Nobody. Like every now and then I make an electronic album.
Wasn't 2006 and Beyond?
Yeah, 2006 and Beyond was probably my first one.
Okay.
It's a Secret to Nobody would have been my second. My third is this new one, We Are Living in the Age of Neo-Feudalism.
Yes.
And I'll put a card here-ish So you can check that out.
Okay.
Because it's the only video I'm going to do for the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't officially released it yet because I'm going to officially release it when I'm done with the album, when I'm ready to promote the album.
Okay.
But I'll give everybody who's watching this a sneak peek. And I've been passing it around the synth memes group. So,
Yes.
So what's up? What's up, Christopher? Thanks for watching. He left I forget what the comment was he left yesterday. I will have to get more prepared for these.
Yeah, you really do.
Or not yesterday, but this week he left a comment. It was about the hot sauce.
Oh, the hot sauce.
Right. And he's been leaving comments. He's been helping us out. It really
Awesome.
helps when you leave comments. So, and you can leave more than one comment. We'll have a conversation. It's a lot of fun.
I don't think I saw the hot sauce comment. What was
Well,
the
you
hot
don't
sauce
watch the videos. Are you even subscribed to this
Yes,
channel on
yes,
your
I
own?
am.
Okay.
Do I need to prove it to you?
No.
Okay.
Maybe later.
Okay.
And then my last shout out is obviously to the Get Off My Lawn Records family, the whole family. We did the Freeform Fridays. It turned out it took 21 people to make the best of Freeform Fridays 2016.
Wow.
Right?
I believe it.
Yep.
Most of them were in our house.
Most of them were in our house. And so it's a whole family of artists and artisans and creatives and all sorts of people that come together to make Get Off My Lawn Records happen. You know, it started by you and me, but it's really a bigger idea than that. So we started this Facebook group. I try to not post in it too much.
Mm-hmm.
I try to leave a daily thing. While we were cut between the David Komie interview, there'll be a video of, I don't remember what it was. Oh, me burping. I let out a pretty good belch. And yeah, I try to give some behind the scenes. I try to give some early access. And obviously you can go like us on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do that, after you click like, click following and change it to see first. And then you'll see every post that we make on the Get Off My Lawn Records. Otherwise, Facebook makes me pay to show you stuff that you already asked to see, which is awful. Get off of there. So, well, at least it got your attention. Hi, Regal Cat. She likes to come in and tear up the grill cloths on all my amplifiers.
Yes.
And that Cordavox is older than you and me combined, I think.
Probably.
So yeah, who are your shout-outs?
My shout-outs. Okay, first one is actually one that we'd meant to put in the Do You Give a Bleeps
Okay.
ages ago or weeks ago and completely forgot.
What?
Ron Glass,
Huh?
the actor.
What was he in?
Firefly,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Barney Miller.
Yep.
And honestly, it wasn't until his obituary that I realized he was in Barney Miller, which is one of my earliest memories watching that with my parents. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
So, shout out to him.
Yes. And his family.
And his family and his loved ones and all of them. Second shout out is to my boss, who shall remain nameless for the time being.
We don't talk about the day jobs.
Because we don't talk about the day jobs. But he was awesome enough to agree to let me switch my schedule around a bit for the spring semester. So he gets a shout out.
Are you going to be home?
Yeah, I'll be home.
Because you deserve a shout out because you have been going to night school all this semester and you've been going 4 nights a week and you get home at like 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this next semester.
Do I get to see more of you this year?
Yeah, I should be home around 9.
Oh. It's almost over.
4 nights a week.
It's almost over. I swear if it's not over by the fall.
It should be over by the fall.
All right.
And then my last shout out would be to both Studio Cat and Regal Cat.
Who both are insisting on being part of this episode.
Yes, and it's gotten colder and they've decided that they're going to snuggle up right next to me and keep me warm. So
warm.
So warm.
All the warm.
So yeah, that's my shout outs.
Yeah.
Hi, baby.
So the last section we do is everybody gets a trophy.
Everybody
And
gets
this
a
week,
trophy.
I'm going to leave everybody gets a trophy in with the shout-outs video.
Okay.
Because nobody ever I know what the watch time looks like. Y'all are slackers.
You analyze it to death.
If you're watching this right now, you get a trophy.
You do.
You get a trophy for watching all the way to this point.
But we will not mail that one to you. Sorry.
No, this one's ours. We pass this one around. Michael from the episode of Ask a Canadian, he got this for us. It's a little mini Stanley Cup, and it has the New York Rangers right on it. And I am not getting up to go show the camera much closer. One day we will do a nice. You know what I'll do? I'll take a nice photo of this, and I'll post it on the Jazz Destroyers Instagram.
Okay.
So we pass this around. We take a moment to appreciate everybody. So I want to appreciate the audience.
Yes.
For hanging out with us. I want to give a trophy to David Komie for trying to help the little guy.
Yes.
And this week I want to give you a trophy that I'm thinking about calling right now.
Oh, this will be good.
I'm going to give you the Tolerance Award.
The Tolerance Award.
You get the Tolerance Award.
And why do I get the Tolerance Award?
Because of this. Oh, studio. Or that was real cat. I was shooting you with Nerf darts for a good half hour before we started filming this.
Yes.
So yes, you get the Tolerance Award for putting up with me when I'm being goofy.
Award. Okay. Well, then you get the award for successfully managing to let your inner 5-year-old out without getting a timeout.
Oh, I'm so good. So thank you for watching, everybody. And on that note,